Welcome, everyone. I'm Mary Nale, and this is Attune Magazine Radio. Today, as we continue our interviews about all topics concerning dreams, my guest is Toni Gilbert, and she is a certified holistic nurse with a variety of healing arts that she offers to clients, and they include guided imagery, energy work, meditation, expressive arts, tarot, dream interpretation, and mind-body consciousness. Toni Gilbert is also the author of Gaining Archetypal Vision and Messages from the Archetypes. So please welcome Toni Gilbert. Hello.
Hey, am I unmuted?
You're unmuted.
I'm live. Okay, I didn't hear
the
live. Okay, I heard a beep.
Oh, I thought maybe you would hear the whole thing, so just a beep. Now I know.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Well, how are you today?
I'm good. Just sitting here in a gray winter day in Oregon.
Well, it just started.
Which I love. I love Oregon, and I love the winter, so I'm fine.
Well, that's good. Well, then you get to have, like, the fireplace and...
Yes.
Fuzzy sweaters and...
That's right.
all those things, right. So it just started snowing here a little while ago, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. You just have an amazing career, I think, of all kinds of wonderful things. And you can probably tell us a lot better than I can what you do, and so people can get to know you and where to find you online. Okay. How's that? Let's start with that today.
Okay, well, first I have to start with my grandmother. I had an esoteric grandmother, but I didn't even know it till I was close to 50 years old. You know, you've heard it before with people who do a lot of the esoteric things that they thought it was normal. Well, I had a grandmother who was an astrologer and a minister and a medium and an energy worker, and she did dream work. You know, so I thought that was all normal stuff.
Oh, wow.
So consequently, I just kind of picked up dream work when I was a kid, so I've been doing dream work for about 50 years. You know,
wow.
When I first started, I would just listen to somebody's dreams and just interpreted it, you know, and that's a pretty good way to start. I didn't even think about symbols until later.
Okay.
And then I didn't start tarot until about 20 years ago, but there is a correlation, and we'll probably get to that. But so we're talking about how I got to be on this path. Nursing appealed to me, and that's where I found out that not everybody did dream work. I was sitting around a table of nurses one morning studying, and I told them about a dream I had, and I interpreted it, and they had mouths all agape around the table, and they wanted to know more. You know, what in the world? I did dream work, and I said, well, don't you? And nobody did. You know, and I was almost 30. You know, so it's interesting because my family would get up in the morning and we would talk about our dreams around the table. You know, that was just normal.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, nursing was suited to me to some degree because I really enjoy the science and some of the nursing, but it just wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. And so I wanted to work deeper with it, so I took a bachelor's degree. I got a bachelor's degree in art and psychology, and that was fun. But during that time, I took a guided imagery class, and guided imagery is like hypnosis. And that just changed my path totally. And then I thought maybe I'd go do art therapy, but that was kind of a dead end. But I ended up getting a master's degree at the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology, which was an education that I just really enjoyed. And so what I used this whole thing in, I had a wellness center at one time, and I used my education in art and psychology to work with people in their health issues, you know, the mind-body type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I still do, but I don't, I've slowed down quite a bit. I've retired my nursing license, and I just kind of work with people who come to me, word of mouth type of thing anymore.
Oh.
And so, but I've had a lot of experience with it, and a session with me would involve working with dreams, or it might involve working with dreams if somebody was, they dreamt a lot. Always tarot sessions. I think tarot is one of the most, it's probably the best tool I have. And I like energy work, and then I work with the guided imagery, and then I throw in, some astrology here and there. And so It's been a lifelong passion to work with my own and other people's unconscious mind.
That's great.
Psychology.
Wow. So if you're going to help a client with dreams or dream meanings, how would you go about that? Can you give us a kind of a run-through of what you might do?
Oh, somebody came in with a heavy dream. Well, I might start people out on Dreamwork because sometimes people don't even know that Dreamwork exists. You can start with people like that and get them. I get them started on a dream journal. But if they come in with a dream journal and they've got a dream, I try to help them find their own meanings to it. And once they get to maybe an aha experience of the dream and they understand it to their interpretation, then I might throw in other angles because dreams have more than one layer of meaning sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like to help empower them to do their own work first.
I see.
Because I'm not going to be with them all the time, and they need to figure out how to do it. And actually, most of the good clients I've had also have a tarot deck. I try to get people buy tarot decks too.
Yeah. So let's just jump right into how do you use the tarot to explore dreams, and why is that such a useful tool for dream work?
Well, it accesses the same area of consciousness. You have several layers of consciousness, and one layer of consciousness is a deep interior layer called the unconscious mind. That's what Freud called it. The other people can call it soul, but it's a place where it's highly symbolic.
How you use tarot to explore dreams, and why tarot is a useful tool for dream work?
Well, both tools, and the one thing that I discovered when I first picked up the tarot deck in earnest was that when I shuffled the deck and I laid it out, it was like laying out a dream right in front of me, and I couldn't believe my eyes at first. In fact, it took me a couple of years to really trust that when somebody shuffled the cards and laid it out, it would lay out a dream, So if somebody comes to me with a dream and they don't know what it is, and we still can't get to it by just discussing it, and going over the symbols, I might use the tarot deck to explore the dreams. I have them say we might go explore a symbol at a time and then draw a card for that symbol. Or I might have them close their eyes and think about the dream as they shuffle, because then you're bringing up the same archetypes, and then throw the cards, and then we can do it again. But are you still there?
Yes, I am. Okay, that sounds good. I'm terrible with. I'm always visualizing what someone's saying.
Oh,
I tend to get out there.
I heard a buzz. Happening.
I didn't hear that. So okay.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Oh. So anyway, that's how I use it. And it's the same energy. All the energy of the shuffle is the Heart Chakra. You shuffle the cards, and it usually has something to do with the emotions, which dreams do too. And the more emotional you are about something, the more likely you are to dream about it. So
Okay.
they're just two different ways of getting to the same information.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
And so if you had to give advice to someone who's, we'll call them a healer of whatever type, they could be a nurse or, an energy worker, what advice would you have for them about using tarot in their practice, whether it be for dream work or any other kind of work? Do you have some advice for those people?
Well, you have to make sure that they're okay with it, first of all, because there are some people who see it as work of the devil.
Good
so
point.
You have to be very careful right there. If you're working with mainstream people, then how do they feel about working with tarot? And that's the first thing you need to do. Or even dream work. A lot of this, what we take for granted, is seen by others as demonic. Surprisingly.
I know. You know what? I still forget that when I'm talking about these things, that it really is like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's good to be reminded.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be doing dream work or working with tarot cards unless they have 2 or 3 years of work with their own work, doing their own work with them.
Okay,
at least.
That makes sense too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if somebody's like using tarot already, and they want to do dream work, then they're much closer to, working with dream work. So I might tell them that for me, I'll tell you how I do it. I listen to the whole dream first, and then I notice how I feel while they're talking about it, because there's an energy exchange between you and that other person, and I can feel their feelings. And so I listen to how I feel, and then I listen for their metaphors as well. And I just stay quiet until they're finished. And then I try to help them interpret for themselves, and then I'll add my interpretation. It's hard to stay quiet because sometimes I just know what the dream's about, but I want them to find out, And so dream work is pretty complex thing, and I wouldn't encourage anyone, any nurse or anybody, to work on their own with a client unless they had done their own work first.
Now, and this is just off the top of my head, are there classes or programs that you can involve yourself in that teach you how to do these kind of things?
I gave a class at community college here in Salem, and I didn't get very much response at all. I did 2 of them, but I don't think that people are that interested unless they're in crisis.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but if somebody wanted to do dream work, a good way to start would be to go to my website at ToniGilbert.com and go to published articles, and there's an article I wrote for a nursing journal that is called The Spiritual Art of Working with Dreams, and it's clear and concise about how to go about it, and then there's some references at the bottom for further reading.
Oh, great. Okay, I will make sure I put that in the blog post that goes with this radio show so that people can find that.
Yeah.
I love your articles. They're always fantastic. So,
thanks.
Can you say the name of the article just one more time for me, please?
The Spiritual Art of Working with Dreams.
Okay. I'm writing that down and making myself a note. But okay, I'll make sure that I provide a link to your website in the blog post so that people can find that.
Yeah, and that's how you start, and there's so much to learn about our levels of consciousness. We have we're multi-dimensional human beings, and there's so much to learn about all of that. There's different symbolisms at each layer, and so it's quite complicated. It's quite a long study, and if you can get it together with a group, that makes it a lot easier.
Oh, okay. I just, I wish there was all kinds of groups. everywhere for people to learn about this stuff, but, then it comes back to just what you said, not everybody is interested.
Yeah, I've been watching there's a little calendar thing here around Salem, and people offer their classes, but they might get one or two people that are interested in. So it hasn't changed much since I was doing my wellness center a few years ago. It's not a necessity, and so people, are busy surviving, and unless they're in crisis and they need to do some inner work and they know that, they usually don't.
Wow, I really love that you said that, because it kind of puts it all in perspective. Not only for me, but I'm sure for other people that are listening who have tried to get a class going or get a group together locally or whatever. And I think you've just said it beautifully. That's exactly it, and wow. Too bad they don't understand that, there's so much more to it than just fixing a problem,
Yeah.
But, but that's the way it is, I guess, so.
It's fun. It's fun to do, but that's what I came in here to do, It's just one of the things I came in to do, and you're probably the same way. We all come in to do things, and I, really don't think there's, in any generation, I don't think there's a lot of people who do what we do. I think it's always a minority.
Well, that's true. That's true. I think, I know I didn't send you this question or this topic in advance, but while you're,
Go ahead.
Oh no, well, I think you touch on things that are just, a lot of us, we struggle with this whole life purpose. What is my life purpose? What am I here to do? And when it turns out that you're supposed to be doing something like this that maybe isn't acceptable to your family, your friends, and people don't get it, and they think you're some kind of devil worshiping crazy person,
Right.
It can be difficult, and I think it's important it's important for me to have a radio show or a magazine where you can access information about these things in case you're in a town where nobody knows about this stuff.
Well, it all helps. There's a new thought coming in, and it's been coming in for about 100 years. And it's not a new thought. It's old thought, really. It's just coming back after the church had its way with our society for about 500 years. But this new thought is coming back in, started with the Theosophical Society or the New Dawn or whatever, around that time, and we're still working with it. And it's gaining momentum, and I think someday it will be mainstream thought. But right now we're just about halfway through the paradigm. So we're bringing in this new paradigm every time we do a radio show or a session with someone. It's just what we're here to do.
Absolutely. I don't know, but that makes me feel better, so I hope that message helps someone else out there, too, because there's days when you just feel like, what do I even do this for,
Well, you do it for you, for one thing.
Right.
And
oh, my goodness. So let's see. So we want to have healers that have experience with their own dream work before they try helping others. I think that's fantastic advice.
Yeah.
And,
they have to. It's too complicated. You couldn't do it without that.
Right. So how would that person get started? What do you kind of recommend?
The Spiritual Art of Working with Dreams article will put you a little further down that road.
Okay, so all right, and a dream journal. And,
and that little article covers everything. It's real clear and concise with the recommended reading.
All right. Oh, it has recommended reading. I love it.
Yep.
More books.
there's some good books there. If you don't get anything else, try those. Get the one with Johnson. I can't remember the name of it. Inner Work. It's called Inner Work, and there's about 90 pages where he describes what the unconscious mind, what is happening there. So, and it's only about 150 pages long, but it's a wonderful book.
I will have to check that out.
And it's in the recommended list at the end of that article.
Okay.
But do get it. I mean, if you're interested in doing dreams, or working with tarot, even it's worth. That little book is a good one.
Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about. You've written 2 books. I like them both, and they are. The first one was Messages from the Archetypes, right? That was the first one.
Right.
And then Gaining Archetypal Vision was the second. And they're great books. I think anyone who has an interest in tarot or any kind of healing work or anything, even the most general kind of behavior type things, I recommend both of your books. And I think you're a fantastic writer.
Thank you.
Your second book, I read the whole book on an airplane.
Yeah.
Didn't put it down, and so can you tell us a little bit about how you came to know that this is what you wanted to write about and how your books came into being?
Well, I was, studying Dreamwork and guided imagery and all kinds of things, and getting a master's degree in transpersonal studies and a whole smear. And I started a midlife crisis when I was about 50, and I had a deck of cards, but I could never work with them. I every time I tried to work with them, they just made me tired. So but I had to have something, and nothing else was working. So I drug out my Rider-Waite deck, and I shuffled and I threw it out, and there was a dream. I couldn't believe it, and it helped me a lot, and so after about 5 years of working with tarot and dreams and all this stuff, I knew I had to write about it, my experience of it, because I wasn't reading the kind of things in other books that I was experiencing, with my education and my experience, and so I knew I had to do it. And so the first one was really aimed at nurses, that you can use you could use tarot cards with wellness counseling to work with the mind-body, and it works very, very well. And then the second one was just more information that I felt like I hadn't put in the first one. I kept taking notes and writing things down, and pretty soon I had like several tablets full of more information. So that's how that got started. So you could take the 2 and put them all into one, if but this is my education and my experience. It's not just an education and then writing cut and paste type thing. I write about my experiences with it. And
right. Well, I recommend that to everyone. Sit down and read those books and keep them on your shelf. I find myself going back to your books. See some,
there's good information in them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'm not sure I don't know how much you know about me, but the reason I got into tarot and the study and things is because I have a mentally ill family member. And when you start looking at behavior patterns and things like that, and I just got, instead of going into like kind of the psychology end of it and the doctors and the more medicine and the more this and the more that, I kind of wanted to understand it for myself a little better.
Right.
So all of these things have been great tools for me as a parent, and I think that's why I loved your book so much, because it kind of gave me a little bit of an edge, I could kind of wrap my head around a little bit more of kind of the things that were going on, even though, you didn't write about mentally ill people and things like that.
No, but we're all
I don't
alike.
know, it all helps.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it all helps. So I don't know. I've just always appreciated that you have shared your experience like that.
Well, I spent 15 years in psychiatry, so I'm sure that some of that is in there too.
Maybe that was the catch for me.
Yeah. Well, I love psychology. I've loved psychology since I was a kid, and so it just one of those things that I came in here to do, And psychology is such an incredible study that you can just go on and on and on. Just don't get to the end of it. It's very complex.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I was just looking for a way to cope.
Yeah.
To understand, to live the life, to do my best, and not aggravate a bad situation,
Yeah.
So
sometimes
thank you. You helped me.
Oh, good. Sometimes you just have to detach.
Yes. Which seems to be the hardest thing to do for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to understand, I guess, at some point you got to go, I can't fix everything, And,
no, you can't. So. You shouldn't even try to fix anything. You should just let people be who they are and help them help themselves. And if they can't, they can't,
Right.
Maybe that's not what they're here to do.
Absolutely. Well, it took me long enough to figure that out, but I'm getting it.
Yeah. Well, they are who they are, and they're going to be who they are. So that's just the way it is. It's their journey. It's their journey. I use that phrase a lot. Working with people who are are in difficult situations with their children or their parents or something. Sometimes you just have to say to yourself, "It's not my journey. It's their journey." I can help to some degree, but it's their journey.
Mhm. Well, that's a good thing to remember. I just wrote that down too, so I can remember that. Not my journey.
It isn't your journey.
Their journey. Great.
It is. And when you're working with death and dying, it's a good thing to remember too. It's not your journey. It's theirs. It helps you detach a little bit.
Absolutely. I honestly, years and years ago, I decided I wanted to, what do they call it, certified nursing assistants or whatever. And I decided I wanted to try that, and I got certified. And everything was going fine until they put me on hospice. I couldn't handle it. I only lasted 2 weeks, and I've never went back to it since. So I have great respect for people who work with, death and dying on a daily basis.
How old were you? How old were you?
I was in my 20s. I was in my 20s, and I was just not equipped to deal with that.
Yeah.
And because I feel like it's the kind of thing where, you have to be prepared for that in some way, and maybe there's people that are just born prepared. I just wasn't one of those people, and I felt like I wasn't doing any great service to these people, and that's what it's all about, helping them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you just weren't there yet. You just weren't old enough, or maybe that's what you not what you came to do.
Yeah, I know that was. I only made it 2 weeks. It was my shortest career ever. And it wasn't that I hated it or anything like that. It was just I felt like I cannot do this. I'm not the right person for this. I'm not helping anyone.
Well, at least you recognize that.
Right. So, okay. Let me see. Do you have any projects or events coming up in the next year here?
Well, if people want to watch my blog, I usually put something on there about what I'm doing, and that's on my website on ToniGilbert.com. But
Okay.
I haven't got the March Portland Northwest Tarot Symposium up there, but they can look into that at nwtarotsymposium.com, and I'll be one of the presenters there.
Oh,
And then I'm going to have a private salon at Brighton Bush in June, and I'm going to meet in my cabin. I'll probably have 6 to 8 people, just a small one.
Oh, wow. Well, what do you do at something like that?
Yeah, well, Christine Payne-Towler is going to be joining me, and she'll give a talk about the history of Tarot and maybe the interface between Tarot and astrology. And I will do something on Dreamwork and Archetypes, and the rest of the time we're having a good time up in the woods, walking through the forest and enjoying the energy. I mean, it's totally different than town.
Oh, my, yeah. Well, that sounds great. Sounds like a retreat and a...
It is.
Yeah, fantastic.
Have you seen pictures of my little cabin up there?
No, I haven't. I'm going to have to look for those.
Well, I have on my Facebook page. You can go to my pictures and see some of the pictures.
Okay.
And
I sure will. That's
probably some on my salon website at Northwest Astrology and Tarot Salon. There's a slideshow. There's a slideshow there.
Oh, okay. Great. I know I like to get back to nature every now and then. I grew up in a very different place than I live in now.
Yeah, well, I live out in the country, and it's always a surprise to me when people don't really want to go to Brighton Bush, So
yeah,
I'm just surrounded by nature all the time. I'm not a city person.
Yeah,
that
helps. I
helps.
don't know. I think it. Yeah. Yes. There's so much noise when you live in town and traffic, and it is just what you said. It's a whole different energy.
And visually you can't see very far. I like to look out and see the mountains and see the trees and see the land and the sheep, and I just anyway, that's what I came here to do. Enjoy nature.
I like it. Yeah, it sounds good to me. So, I always laugh. I'm 45 now, and when I was a teenager, I could not wait to get away from living in the country. There's nothing here. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And now I'm 45, and I want to go back there.
Yeah, well, it's different, and different. I can understand that. I remember being a teenager, not wanting to be out in the country.
Yeah, but now I want, I'm like, show me where that bus is. I'm on it. So, okay, I've had a wonderful time chatting with you. And is there anything else you want to share with us today or talk about that we haven't covered?
Well, I think that if people want to find harmony and balance in their life, that inner work is the way to do it. And Dreamwork and Tarot and some of the esoteric other tools are the ways to achieve that. But, so does prayer and meditation. And usually when I'm in session with people, I recommend prayer and meditation too, along with everything else. And that just gets you to that place of movement, developing yourself a little more. Because unless you develop yourself, you're not going to find harmony and balance in your life if you're stuck at a developmental level. And that's a whole nother show, that developmental stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be religious. You don't have to be
advice.
religious to practice prayer and meditation. And you pray, and then you wait in meditation, and answers can come to you, or you can ask for guidance, and they might come to you in other ways, like through books or the mouth of babes or a television set, or you will get answers if you ask. But
true
get
enough.
connected, and get connected with other people who are doing the same thing. Social media, study groups. It all works.
Absolutely.
And you aim toward the yin and yang. The balancing of the interior with the exterior. Balancing the masculine and the feminine in yourself.
I like that.
And when you're in full bloom, there should be quite a balance there.
Oh, full bloom. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Wow. And what, do you ever think about how many people are just like going through the motions every day?
Yeah.
And, and it's kind of sad and it's kind of scary.
Yeah. Well, the world is a big distraction to this other work too, because you could always, if you're feeling bad, you can always turn on the TV and get lost in that and not have to feel, or something else, drugs or sex, or there's a lot of things that you can get involved in so you don't have to feel, But if you want to find harmony and balance in your life, go towards the esoteric tools of Dreamwork and Tarot and astrology and, guided imagery, meditations.
Absolutely. Good advice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope someday we can do this again. Anytime, I'm pretty, easy to get a hold of eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually, I've been having these mad computer problems. Like, one computer gets fixed, and then the backup one breaks, and then in between, it's been a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
But I'm getting it all straightened out. So maybe we'll get to do this again and talk about, I don't know.
Oh, how about self-development?
Self-development sounds wonderful, and I will bring my big notebook for that.
Yeah.
Because I need it.
And that's mostly what's in the second book, just the gaining archetypal vision.
Yeah.
And a person doesn't have to be able to be proficient at the archetypes to do all this either. It's just that I've been fascinated with archetypes, and I learned the intellectual definition of the archetypes years ago, but it took me several years to really get what I was seeing and hearing and feeling.
Right.
So it's quite a journey in itself. So it's not necessary to learn that part, but it depends on what you're here to do.
Absolutely. Oh, I feel so relaxed when I talk with you. It's like, it's amazing. You got that special something.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, I mean it. So, all right. Well, thank you again, and it's ToniGilbert.com.
Toni with an I.
With an I. And you're on Facebook, and, people can see you here and there online, and this has just been fantastic, and I look forward to, we'll do another show here one of these days, and maybe, I don't know, we'll have to see our schedules here.
Okay.
And so thank you so much, and I'll be, as soon as this is edited, I will let you know.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, you too.
All right,
and thanks, Mary.
Oh, no, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to Attune Magazine Radio. That was Toni Gilbert. Fantastic interview. Do check out her books. And all the links that you need will be on our website, AttuneMagazine.com. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.